Hello, everybody. This is Sree from BizBuzz, What Matters the Most in Your Business, sponsored by My Workbelt. My Workbelt is a all-in-one software package. Service-based small businesses are taking advantage of the software all over, which is economical according to the users and easy to use software for running your business. If you are a business owner, running a small business and service-based business, I would highly recommend you to take a look at it. And today we have a guest, Arias WebsterBerry, and he is a digital marketing expert, entrepreneur, and author dedicated to helping businesses grow for the clarity, strategy, and cutting-edge tools. He is the founder and CEO of WebsterBerry Marketing, Launch Ignition AI, and Ignite Funnels. And he's also known for turning adversity into opportunity. Arias blends powerful storytelling with actionable insights to empower the next generation of entrepreneurs. Arias, how are you doing?
I am doing absolutely amazing. How about yourself?
I am doing wonderful. Thank you very much for joining me today. Greatly appreciate your time and willingness to share your knowledge and expertise with the small business community.
Likewise.
Excellent. So, Arias, tell me when we are talking about your profile, and I am finding that you have a unique skill of using the storytelling techniques in marketing for your customers. So tell us a little bit more about what is a storytelling and why is it important in marketing?
Yeah, storytelling is as old as time, right?
Hmm.
We are all captivated and drawn in by a good story. And I
Right.
think that when it comes to business, when it comes to your own personal brand, many times we forget that the story is just as important as the result, right? The
Uh-huh.
path that led you there is what really gets someone to buy into you. So
Right.
storytelling is you being able to get people to find common ground, to get to know the
Hmm.
real you, right? Beyond the accolades, beyond the degrees, beyond the money you've made, the big house, maybe the wins for your business. You being able to tell them about your beginnings, tell them about maybe some of your troubles, your struggles, and how you were able to overcome that and become the person that you are today.
Correct. Right. So when it comes to small business, all entrepreneurs, they go through a great deal of challenges.
Mhm.
And some they recognize as, hey, this is a big deal, or hey, some they don't see it as a big deal because that's the nature on their mindset, right? How do you how do you suggest for a small businesses to bring out their stories into the market? And that can is there any technique or is there any tip that you would like to offer for the small businesses?
Um, I mean, the first thing is you need to record more.
Uh-huh.
I think a lot of times business owners are looking for that picture perfect moment, right?
Yeah,
Everything, like the desk has to be completely spotless and there has to be no noise. And, you have to have your makeup or, your best suit on. And that's not the reality of you and your business.
mm-hmm.
The reality is your desk is dirty. And sometimes your hair isn't perfectly set. And, it is noisy, and that's where prospects and consumers are, right? They want to see the real you. They want to know what happens behind the scenes. They want to
Right.
see how the sausage gets made, right?
Right.
So storytelling, it isn't just for big brands with big budgets. It's how small businesses become unforgettable. And easy ways to do that is, you want to start with building connection, trust, and
Mm-hmm.
that's going to lead eventually to conversions, right? So the first thing I would say is start with struggle, right?
Mm-hmm.
People connect with imperfection, not a polished image.
Mm-hmm.
So why did you start your business? What are
Mm-hmm.
the pain points or problems that inspired you to get here? Maybe a moment when you almost quit,
Mm-hmm.
but you did,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Like my origin story, I started with a laptop on my couch,
Right.
and I cleared out a portion of my closet and put a desk in there, and it was just me, my laptop, and some stinky shoes.
Yes.
And eventually I built a very large business, right?
And multiple of them, not just simply one.
Right. But nobody wants to see the story of, hey, I started my business. The bank gave me an amazing loan. I landed a huge contract. I bought a big house. I went on vacation. I met Drake, and I'm a billionaire. you know, It- it's
So
like
those
that's
are the
great,
sparkling stories everybody wanted to hear, right?
man.
What is the relevance of a small business story? Why would anybody care for it?
Because it lets them know that they can trust you,
I see.
right?
Hmm.
Uh, when someone's considering doing business with you, they want to know, are you consistent? Do you have a
Right.
passion for what you do? Do you take pride in your
Yeah.
work?
Yeah.
And if you haven't sacrificed, if you haven't struggled in any way for your business, well, you're less likely to stick it out when the going gets tough,
Right.
right? If I'm unhappy with my purchase with you, if you're not really into this, you may not see this as, this is my reputation on the line. I need to make sure that I do what it takes to make you happy,
Right.
right? So that's why the story is important.
So speaking of that stories, tell me in Westerberry marketing, the journey of creating it from your closet and the laptop to where you are now helping hundreds of clients and employees that you have, providing a means for their life, right?
Mhm.
Give me one challenge that you've gone through, and then when you get through it, and you say, "Oh my God, that's a big deal. I went through it," and that gave me a resilience. So, what do you share in that challenge, and what have you learned from that challenge?
I've got 20 of them.
I can imagine. I can
I'll choose
imagine.
one. I think the first thing is I didn't grow up with connections, right? I didn't
Yes.
have investors. I didn't even have stability at a young age, right? Before I turned
Mhm.
18, I had lived in a dozen different places. I was raised by a struggling single parent. Both of my parents were incarcerated at one point.
Oh wow.
Um, but those things taught me that it's never as bad as you think it is,
Yes.
and it also taught me that I have the ability to work through anything. It doesn't matter what this world throws at me. I
Right.
have the ability to weather the storm.
Yes.
Um, and in business, I started an amazing business that was centered on social media,
Uh-huh.
and we were helping people increase their engagement, increase their following, which
Right.
obviously turns into leads and sales. And that was the first time I had made $100,000 in a month. It was, going amazing.
Yeah.
And then social media platforms completely changed their guidelines. They altered their algorithm, and
Yes.
it made our business null and void, right?
Mm.
Basically, inside of 30 to 60 days.
Oh wow.
Uh, and that was tough. It was really tough to go from riding high six figures. I'm like, man, I can't lose. I'm on easy street now, and then it was gone, right? Basically, inside of maybe 6 months. The first 60 days, we dropped an enormous amount of clients, kind of held on for 6 months, and then eventually we were out of business.
Right.
But what that told me was, don't put all your eggs in one basket, right? We were making lots of money. We should have been looking to diversify
Mm.
our product and service offerings, right? We should have got some other things going. We should have upsold our clients so that even if that fell, we had something else to offer, and we could have kept our client base
Right.
satisfied and adding value to their businesses.
So from that struggle, if I take it, you are suggesting the rest of the business community don't put all eggs in one basket. Make sure you are offering multiple services and
Hmm.
different ways to help different types of customers in different industries. Is that what I'm
Indeed, and,
hearing?
and it's tough because you typically have one of two entrepreneurs. You have one that has 1,000 different ideas, and you can't get them to focus on one. Right? They're jack of all trades, master of none. And then you have some who are really, really good at one thing and they won't consider anything else.
Correct.
Right. So
Right.
you have to balance those two things, right? You need to find one thing that you're good at,
Yeah.
perfect that thing, and then quickly pivot and figure out other solutions that you can offer to your customer base, right? What other products or services or add-ons could help them
Hmm.
get more value?
Right. Excellent. Excellent. So, what would you suggest to a small business owner, um, or even for that matter, the startup companies that doesn't have major budget in marketing? So it's a struggle. Unless you have a revenue, you can't budget for marketing. But at the same time, you budget for marketing and you are scared that you may or may not be able to get any revenue out of it, and you don't know. So how would you recommend for the small businesses to invest into the marketing? And what are the do's and don'ts they should be aware of?
Yeah, I would say first thing is you just need to bite the bullet and allocate a portion of your revenue, right?
Mhm.
I can't tell you how many business owners I meet with, and I ask them if they have a marketing budget, and they say, "Yeah, no, not really." And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Well, I don't know what you're doing." So,
Right.
rule of thumb, if you're in business to business, you should be allocating, 5 to 10% of
Mm,
your projected revenue. So, if you're
mm,
trying to make $1 million, you need to, allocate anywhere from 50,000 to $100,000
mm,
towards marketing for the year.
mm,
If you are in business to consumer, you need to allocate anywhere from 10 to 15% of your
mm,
projected revenue to marketing. And a
mm.
lot of times they say, well, we don't have $1 million. Well,
Right.
okay, you're never going to have $1 million if you don't allocate this money. So, if you have to borrow it, if you have to get someone to invest, you need to pull from savings, you need to,
Right.
whatever you need to do, you need to establish a budget. So that's the first part. The second thing is, you need to start with two things. One, organic social media,
Hmm.
right? So you can start with, something as simple as one piece of powerful content, right?
Mm,
Shoot a 90-second, maybe a 3, 4 minute
hmm.
video answering the most common client questions, right?
Hmm.
And then put that everywhere, right? On your
Mm,
website, LinkedIn, Instagram,
mm,
TikTok, Facebook, any places as you can. And then you take that piece of content and you break it down into smaller pieces, right? Turn that into, 15, 30, 60-second reels.
mm,
Uh, and then you can also pull a couple quotes from that and turn that into
mm,
a graphic,
mm,
right? And if you add a call to action at the end of that video, well, to say book a call or, take a lead magnet,
mhm.
then you now have a piece of content that has the ability to generate leads.
Yeah.
And then the second thing I would say is take that piece of content and see if you can run ads. You can put a
Mhm.
budget behind it in order to force it into the feed of more people.
Mm. I see.
Um, I think a lot of people focus on this whole going viral thing. It's
Right.
not about going viral. It's about going visible, right?
Correct.
Being more visible.
I
And
see.
that's how you build authority. Authority builds when you show up. It helps you stand out and it helps you speak directly to your audience in a
I
way
see.
that they understand. And you do that consistently, it starts to compound.
Excellent. No, thank you very much for sharing that advice. I greatly appreciate being on the show and sharing your experience here. So, if I summarize it, you are suggesting to the small businesses, make sure you allocate a budget for marketing. Don't ignore it.
Mhm,
And if you are a B2B, allocate at least 5 to 10%. And if you are a B2C, I'll try to allocate at least 15% of your revenue as a budget for marketing.
mhm,
And you wanted to make sure your content is authentic and you don't want to come across as a automatic or a robotic in your presentations, and present yourself. Don't worry about the perfection. Make sure it is natural and be able to articulate your story so that others will be able to connect and do business with you. And the very purpose of the story that you are suggesting, Arias, that to build the trust, it's not necessarily for selling something. But once the trust is established, and then the sale will follow automatically. Did I summarize it right?
Beautifully. I mean, wow. It's like I gave you a script.
So those who are listening, please take some